Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments. Welcome to this episode of the Determined Mom Show. I am your host, Amanda Tento, and I have the lovely Sarah Finns with me, and she is the owner of Sarah Finns Coaching, and she is also a finance coach. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about our topic today. But before we get into that, let's hear a little bit about you and your background and how you got started.
Sure. Yeah. I began my career in accounting. I went to school for accounting. I earned my CPA. I worked in various corporate accounting roles for a number of years in New York City and also in London. And after my daughter was born, she's 12 now, I went back to school for health coaching to follow my passion for health and all things health and wellness. And so I started my health coaching business and ran that business for about 10 years. And during that time, I discovered that so many of my colleagues and health coach friends and other entrepreneurial friends were struggling with the finance side of their businesses. And so that came naturally to me because of my background in accounting before I started my business. And I realized that because I had the knowledge of running my business, as well as my knowledge of accounting, that I could really help other solopreneurs learn to manage their finances easily. And so it started just by helping some friends, on kind of a casual basis. And then I thought to myself that it might be something that I could really, turn into a business and really help more people with. And when I started doing that, first of all, I loved it. I love it. And it was super rewarding. And it's something that I find is really needed. And so I've moved into that full time now. And I've kind of, put the health coaching to the wayside, and I'm focusing on supporting other entrepreneurs right now. So
that's awesome. I love when two different passions come together. And the second thing that I love, and this happens on almost every episode, if we're talking to a mother, is that after birth, like career change. Like it's so like, okay, I'm doing this and I really don't want to do this when I have a kid. Like that's just not going to work for me. And I just love that transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, corporate accounting is it's a demanding field to be in, and it's not very flexible. And so I knew that I, wanted to be around more while my kids were growing up, and I decided becoming an entrepreneur was the way to do it. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. That's one of my, I guess, favorite things to hear from anyone. like I started this because I had kids and now I can be home with them and, be present. And, that's like music to my ears. So I love it. Yeah. Awesome. So today we're going to talk about how to build your business finances into your routine without stress and make it fun. So the last part is the part that I'm really curious about, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things I try to do with my clients is to really take the stress and the overwhelm and the scariness out of finances, because I truly believe that anyone can learn how to manage your business finances. You don't need to have an accounting background. You don't need to even have, training in business. You just need to be willing to learn new things and get in there. And so I work really hard to kind of demystify that, and also to bring kind of some fun into my recommendations for my clients.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And I know you're right, but I have had the opposite experience of like myself. Like I am like probably your ideal client. At least I was until I got my bookkeeper last year. But like I was like overwhelmed. I would just like not do anything really until like April. And then I would have to go through the entire year. I think we talked about this when we first met, but like I would go through the entire year in like 2 weeks and I couldn't talk to my family. I'd be like, nope, I can't talk to you until I get this done. I can't talk to you until I get this done. Like it was horrible. And so I love that you're trying to kind of counter that and give us kind of a really easy way to track things. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, sure. You're absolutely not alone. First of all, I hear that time and time again because also too, as moms and business owners, we're so busy. We wear so many hats. We have 1,000 things to do every day that there's, the things that don't take priority, like the finances, until they are a priority, come tax time,
Yeah.
tend to fall by the wayside. But I designed my course and my system intentionally so that it can be something that can be done a little bit each week or a little bit each month, depending on the size of your business. So that way, when it comes to the end of the year, you're really just kind of finalizing the details. You're not actually having to spend all that time in one lump sum or one sitting to get it all done. And so I think, I feel very strongly that if you put in a little bit of time up front, will keep you from having to do it all at the last minute, but also it takes that stress away and then you can let kind of the fun creep in.
Yeah.
So
And the fun part is actually knowing what's going on to me.
yes,
I don't know if that's
yes.
the fun part, making it fun, but to me, that's where I see the fun and like looking at reports and like seeing things and not having to like guess, like knowing
Mhm.
like this is how much is in there, this is how much is in there, and all of those things. So I love that
Yeah,
part.
you really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, if you're tracking your finances throughout the year and you're able to really get a good sense as to what's coming in and from where, which parts of your business are bringing in the most revenue, what's going out, maybe what you shouldn't be spending so much on at the moment, or what you have to invest in, say, a new program or a new platform that you need. You can look at that in real time instead of waiting until the end of the year and kind of winging it during the year. And then also too, if you're tracking your finances on a regular basis, when you are making money and when your launches are successful and when your sales are happening, that's fun because we're in
Yeah,
business to help people, but we're also in business to have a thriving business that can support us and our families. And so that's exciting, at least to me, but it sounds like it's the same for you. You resonate with that as well, right?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, before, again, I was just kind of like, it was just always anxiety when I thought about it, like always anxiety, always anxiety. And now I just actually yesterday, my bookkeeper sent me the report from January. And so now I
Mm-hmm.
know like what happened in January and, like what our net was and all that stuff. And I absolutely just love that. So,
Yeah, that's great. And you're probably all ready for your taxes in
mhm.
advance, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Which is contrary to every other year. So I'm like,
Yeah, which it's really awesome, and it's such a good feeling. And like you were saying, that you don't have to stress about it because it's done, and I love, that you have a bookkeeper. But what I found is that many solopreneurs, either they're not at a place financially where they're ready to make that investment. But what I also think is important too, that you said your bookkeeper sends your reports. You want to make sure that even if you're hiring out to someone, that you're still looking at the numbers for the reasons that we talked about before. But you want to make sure you're still in the numbers, even if you're not the one, entering them and tracking them throughout the year. It's super important too.
yeah, I love that. So what is your kind of framework? How do we do this? How do we accomplish not being stressed about it and building it into our routine?
Right. So the first thing you need to do is have a system. So you need to find a system that works for you. I built a system because I couldn't find one that wasn't, the ones that are out there I find are really overwhelming for most business owners, and they're complex and they're more than they need unless, you are a bookkeeper doing books for other businesses. And so I created that. And then within that, tracking, once you have something that you're comfortable tracking, setting money dates is probably the number one recommendation, and then sticking to those money dates. And what I mean by that is, pick a date, either once a week. Friday or Monday usually works well for people depending on, the flow of their business, or once a month if you don't have a huge amount of volume going through your business, to sit down and take a look at your bank statements and enter them into the tracking tool that you use. And so your bank statements, but also if you have credit card statements related to your business or any other revenue sources. So if you use, whatever, Stripe or Square, or make sure you're looking at all of those reports. And then you're only putting in a little bit at a time. So that
Mhm.
way you can spend, an hour or less. Within my program, we have money dates that are half an hour. And people find that that's actually a nice amount of time for them to just on an ongoing basis be able to plug everything in. And then make those money dates fun so that you want to go to them, right? So maybe that means you have an accountability partner where you meet on Zoom and you do it together.
That's a great idea. I've never even thought of
Yeah,
that.
because I'm sure you have business owner friends, right? Like most of us
Definitely.
have business owner friends that are probably in the same boat, that are looking for that as well. So make it kind of a scheduled date, or you can put some music on, or you can do that as well. And then, have a cup of tea, have a glass of water, whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable and calm, so that
Mhm.
you're not associating your finances with stress. And then the
Mhm.
other recommendation I have is to use a timer. So if you find that you're feeling really overwhelmed getting started, just give yourself 15 minutes. It doesn't all have to get done in one sitting. If you're not doing it for in the tax time crunch, it doesn't all have to get done at one time, right? So maybe spend 15 minutes that first time. Just get in there, look at your numbers, download the statements, do what you need to do, and then say, okay, timer's up. I'm going to come back again tomorrow or the next day, do another 15 minutes, and kind of build that muscle of taking the fear away and taking the anxiety away from looking at your numbers and plugging them into your tool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love all of those things. I really love the like setting the mood kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're going on a date with your finances. So, you want to feel good, maybe even put on some makeup and,
Yes.
make yourself feel like amazing. I love that. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah, it's all about shifting the energy around the money, because oftentimes we grow up with certain energy around money, certain beliefs around money, and those are hard to shake. And if you can somehow figure out how you personally can shift that, at least in the time frame where you're working on your finances, be excited about what's coming into your bank account. Be excited that you have this business that you get to, invest in. And I always love to reframe taxes too. People kind of get grumbly about having to pay taxes, but paying taxes means your business is making money. So to me, that's a good thing. And also too, if you're tracking your finances on a regular basis, you can regularly put aside money for your taxes. So that way at the end of the year, you're not scrambling to try to cover, what you owe. So
yep. Yeah, that's awesome. I love all of these things. So how can we get a hold of your program? Like if I'm, a business owner and I don't really have a system, like if you were talking to me last year, like
Mhm.
tell me.
Yeah, sure. So the name of my program is called Easy Business Bookkeeping, and it's my intention to keep it just that, easy. So that's why I use that name. So you can find me on social media at Easy Business Bookkeeping. And then the link to my course information is sarahfins.com/bookkeeping. So that's where you can find out all the information about the program. And then, on my website, you can find out some more about me. And yeah, so that's the best place probably to find out information about the course.
Awesome. I love it. So do you have any other tips or tricks or anything else that you'd like to share with us about making those finances less stressful and more fun?
Yes, what I'd like to say is to just get started. So oftentimes we can hold ourselves back from doing it for all the reasons we talked about. And I just challenge you to just get started, and then get support. So, if that's not my course, it could be somebody else's course. It could be a friend who's well versed in finance, it can be a book, whatever it is, get support, because we didn't wake up one day learning all the things we need in our own business to make it successful. So if you're learning something new like finances, you need to take the time to get the support around it so you can learn it. So that's what I would say. Don't feel bad for not knowing what you think you should know.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, that's a
does
good
that
one.
make sense?
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes complete
Yeah.
sense because it's like we all kind of think like, oh, well, I spend money in my personal life, so I should be able to, figure this out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Like it shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
this hard, but it really is. It's just different. It's not the same as your personal life. There's receivables, payables, all that stuff. And you want to make sure that you're seeing those things and tracking and all of that stuff. So I agree completely. I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do actually do have a downloadable guide. If anybody's interested, that's a free guide. It's also on my website, sarahfins.com/steps. And what's in there are 3 simple steps to get you started right away. So if you're looking to dive in, you're not really sure what to do first, you can grab that guide and it'll give you some information to get started. So,
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll have that link in the show notes. So,
okay,
where
great.
is the best place? You mentioned Instagram, but where is the best place for people to connect with you online, social media wise?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram page, Easy Business Bookkeeping, and I also have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group called the Easy Business Bookkeeping Community. And you can just type that into the Facebook search bar and you'll find my group. And I'm in there all the time, connecting and going live and talking with members and sharing tips and tricks for managing your finances. So I'd love to have you come hang out with me if that's something that resonates with you at the Easy Business Bookkeeping Community.
That sounds awesome. All right. Well, you heard her. Go hang out in her community. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here and sharing your wisdom with us and sharing, very importantly, how not to stress about money and how to make our bookkeeping fun. So thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for listening to the Determined Mom Show. We appreciate you, and we would love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. This will help us reach as many other moms as we can. Don't forget to download your 10 things you should be doing to get more clients from Google Search Guide at rebrand.ly/Google10.